Hello and welcome to the walking talking topic on trigonometry question number 3 with me, Mr. Barton. Right, we're getting into the tricky stuff here. This is let's scroll down here, 5-mark epic question, loads of stuff we need to do, so let's just have a careful read of it and get cracking. City planners need to know the difference in height between a building on one side of the road and a building on the other side of the road. The buildings are vertical and directly opposite each other. The horizontal road is 20 metres wide. From the centre of the road between the buildings, the angle of elevation to the top of one building is 72 and the other is 38. Calculate the difference in heights. Now, it's given us a nice little hint here, space for a diagram, and indeed a diagram is going to be the absolute key to this. Now, I'm the world's worst drawer, but let's see what I can knock up. So we've got two buildings, one on one side of the road. Let's draw him here. And then we've got a road that is 20 metres wide. So we don't need anything to scale here. And then we've got another one that is here. Okay. And let's just mark that as 20 metres wide there. Now, we don't know the height of these two buildings. That's the whole point. But what we do know is that from the centre of the road, the angle of elevation between the road and this building is 72 degrees. Now, you've got to get your head around what the angle of elevation is. The angle of elevation is when you start horizontal and you look up to the top of the building. So if you start on that middle point and look up, you turn your head up 72 degrees. So it's that bit there, 72 degrees. And on the other side, it's 38. So my drawings to scale's a bit ropey here, but we'll be fine with that one. 38. So you've not had to turn your head quite as far for that one. So that one's going to be 38 degrees for that bit. And all the other thing we know, because we've got two angles here, is we know a length. That's the centre of the road, so that's got to be 10, and that's got to be 10. And what we've done now is we've turned this into a fairly standard trigonometry question, because if those buildings are vertical, that's got to be right angles. So we've got ourselves two right angle triangles, and all we need to do is work out the height of the first building. I'll put H1, and the height of the second building, and work out the difference between them. And then we're laughing. So, let's do it. Let's make sure we don't drop any marks. Let's take this triangle here first. So I'm going to be talking about H1. So, I have got a hypotenuse over here, I've got an opposite here, and I've got myself an adjacent here. I need to tick what I've got. So I've got the adjacent. I need to tick what I need. I need to work out the opposite. So that has got an adjacent and an opposite. So if you know your soccer TOA, that is a tan question or a TOA question. I'm going to write that out here. So I've got tan theta equals opposite over adjacent, and I need a little times sign in the middle and complete my little brackets. And there's my TOA triangle. Now, what am I trying to work out? I'm trying to work out my opposite. So I get my thumb and I cover up my opposite. And it tells me to do tan theta times adjacent. It tells me opposite equals tan theta times adjacent. Opposite equals tan theta times adjacent. And now it's just a case of filling in what I'm missing. My opposite I've actually called H1. Tan theta, well, theta is just my angle, so that's 72, times by my adjacent, which in this case is 10. Bang that in my calculator. Here we go. So I need, help if you could see it. There it is. I need tan, I'll put it to one side actually, just so we can see the working out. I need tan 72 times 10. Tan 72, close me bracket, very important, times 10. Very important, that closing the bracket. Press equals, and I get 30.7768. 30.7768, and I'll dot that. And that will be meters. Alright, so that's that one sorted. What about my second height, H2? Well, it's very similar, because I've got an opposite, I've got an adjacent, and I've got a hypotenuse. Tick what I've got my adjacent. Tick what I need, my opposite. So it's TOA again. And again, I need my opposite, so if I cover up my thumb with my thumb, it's again tan theta times by adjacent. So, I'm going to write it out. Opposite equals, just move that up so you can see, tan theta times by my adjacent. Well, that's going to be tan of 38 in this case, times by my adjacent of 10. Let's bang that into the calc. Tan 38, close me bracket, times 10. Press equals. I'm hoping it's going to come out smaller. and indeed it has 7.8128 metres. Probably got myself 4 marks now, but what do I need to do to get the final mark? Well, the question says calculate the difference in heights of the buildings. So I'm going to write that down. Difference, it's going to be H1 take H2. H1 in this case is 30.7768. H2 is 7.8128. Take them away from each other, and notice I haven't done too much rounding here, so I can be reasonably accurate with my answer. So I'm going to do 30.7768 take away 7.8128. Get my equals, press my SD button if it comes out nasty, 22.964, and I'm just going to round that to 22.96 metres to 2 decimal places. 5 marks, but you only get those 5 marks if you manage to somehow change what looks a nasty question into a fairly straightforward question. Hope that was useful.